Okay, got a little bit of a free time here to do some of these. So, although I think I'm running out of memory on my phone, so better try and keep it short. I haven't watched Jordan Peterson's videos for a long time. Kind of went off him again for a little while, but I watched one because it was just me and Anyway, one of the things he was talking about was how we see the world through our aims, and how I'll just read what I wrote here. Jordan Peterson's point about our aims causing us to reconfigure how we see the world. I made this point to a lesser extent when I talked about going shopping for an encyclopedia. So a long time ago I would have talked about when I was looking to buy an encyclopedia because I wanted to get an encyclopedia so that I could read it. I thought that would be clever. And then obviously Sam Harris, a couple of years later, got a guy on his podcast who read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica and said how he only remembered about 5% of it or something. Anyway, I wondered, is it possible to reorient your... Well, I should probably talk about the encyclopedia thing. So yes, I was looking to buy an encyclopedia, and then every time I went out anywhere, to the shops, obviously, I was noticing either the word encyclopedia or actual encyclopedias everywhere I went, in places that I just couldn't possibly... I would never have considered an encyclopedia to possibly exist before. So yeah, it kind of blew me away. I was just like, what the hell? All these encyclopedias have been here this whole time, and I just had no idea about it. And I wondered whether, and I realised obviously the extrapolation was that it would happen for anything. It's just what you're paying attention to. And it's like have you ever had that feeling where when you just read something and you don't know where, as an example. So I think when I was at like a little stingy bookshop, they had a load of books outside, and I just read a word, and I don't know where I read it from, and the word just came into my head, and I knew I'd read it somewhere, and so I didn't really read it. It was unconscious reading, but it entered the word from the unconscious reading entered my consciousness, and I spent ages looking for where that word came from, and eventually you see it on one of the covers, and you thought, I don't even remember looking there or anything like that. So your brain is obviously unconsciously paying attention to things that your conscious self isn't actually paying attention to. And I wonder if you can change what it is that your unconscious brain is looking for without your consciousness being aware of it. Anywho, is it possible to reorient your worldview? He suggests so. Well then, what would be a good aim to reorient my outlook so that I see the world in a less depressing way? To go back to the encyclopedia, I wanted to buy an encyclopedia. All of a sudden, everywhere I looked, I saw the word encyclopedia in places I never imagined it would have existed. Maybe if I decided I was searching for beauty, I would see a lot more beauty in the world. Obviously, well, the abstract version, not the word beauty, but the actual encapsulation of what we take to be beautiful things. Perhaps this is what artists do. Maybe inventors look for things that need improving. But what about my aim, if I even have one? Makes my life so depressing. Maybe it is because I don't have one, so I don't find anything at all, and the world seems empty. Or maybe I'm looking for examples of stupidity and ignorance and injustice. That's what I seem to find. I think when I was younger, my main imperative was to look for funny. I think for the most part I still do, but not to the same extent. Perhaps I should revisit this aim. One of the problems is that in order to improve the world, you'd need to be looking for things which need improving. I guess so long as you weren't overwhelmed by all the things that needed improving, this would be okay. Perhaps then mental well-being is dependent on your not being too good at noticing the things your aims draws your attention to, and being proficient at being able to rectify the issues you do notice. Maybe mental unwell-being is caused by an imbalance of these, and the neurotic notice too many issues and are unable to fix them all. There are quite a few. I can't remember where I got up to. Pausey. Okay, I think I know where we are. I think I know where we are. This was a stupid one. Well, anyway, I hate the idea of wanting to be captain someday, or whatever the goal may be. The thought is being sparked by Amy Santiago in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think the aspects that annoy me are that the role of captain, or whatever it may be, exists regardless of who you are. If you were to become captain, it just means it's you and not someone else filling that particular role. I imagine someone working really hard to become captain and something feels off. All the hard work is just training you to be someone who anyone could be. Maybe it's the lack of creativity and individuality that I hate. But I've certainly never considered myself creative, and hate so much when people say, I'm a creative person, and therefore they can't do some certain thing, as if there are people who wouldn't want to be creative if they could, and somehow these people still come off as if they feel like they're being victimised for their creativity. This is the kind of thing that I always notice in a load of TED Talk type things. There's a person who goes up on stage and goes, look, I'm a really creative person, okay, so I can't do this, and I'm really creative, and it's a curse, and I'm so creative, and any fucking who. The thought that's plaguing my job... I really didn't finish the thing there. So... what was I getting at? Yeah, it's just something about... I don't know. I want to make captain someday, or I want to be a boss someday, I want to be something someday. But it's just this thing that other people are... I don't know, man. You're just going to be... I don't know what it is, because I guess everyone is, but you're just working to get into some role where you're not really going to be doing anything new, I guess. It's just the same thing. I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger on it. Whatever, I'll let it go. The thought that's plaguing my troubled mind right now is this one. Some people, by dint of their genetic and epigenetic makeup, and their environments and upbringing, etc., are living objectively, and more importantly, subjectively, better lives than others, and more importantly, me. Take Taika Waititi, for example. Not because his fame or wealth are giving him a better subjective experience, but because he's clearly better looking, more intelligent, more creative, and happier than me. Okay, I don't know about more intelligent, because I'm pretty fucking intelligent, but probably is. The real problem part of this is the genetic aspect. I can't change my fucking genes. I can't change what makes humans feel good. He is more attractive, and let's assume more intelligent for the sake of argument. His comedic work supports this anyway. Thus more people want to be with him, of both sexes in both ways. People wanting to be with you gives you a better subjective experience than people wanting not to be with you. My Tinder experience is testament to that fact. What can be done about this? All those condemned with bad genes could eliminate themselves and their bad experience. It's one solution. You see, this is how Tinder makes me feel. I now know of at least 400 people that I wasn't even aware existed before, who find me so repulsive they can't even swipe right on me. I'm able to quantify my undesirability, and it increases exponentially with time. It's so funny and so depressing. Oh, hi, Ollie. Oh, hi, Suicide Ollie. And something that's just as big a part of the problem is that I treat women in exactly the same way. So it's not like women are the problem, although they are part of the problem because their standards don't match the mean, it would seem. But just as I resent not being able to enjoy the happiness associated with feeling wanted, due at least in part to my genetics, many women are subject to the same ill treatment by me for the very reason I claim to oppose. It's a problem inherent in the human condition. The flow of evolution and natural selection is clashing with that of ethical egoism and individualism. So following up in my Taika Waititi complaint, although he could be replaced by literally millions of examples and many of them better, nonetheless, the thing that gets to me the most is the IQ discrepancy. I really don't care about the differences between groups. I don't see any real utility in it at all, but I am immensely interested in the differences between individuals. A good-looking person with a high IQ is almost undoubtedly going to have an objectively subjectively better life than a stupid, ugly person. And I can't see a way around that. Unless, and I've actually said this seriously before, unless ignorance really is bliss. It certainly seems that there is some sort of correlation between intelligence and certain mental health disorders, and so maybe the cost of increased intelligence is a slightly worse subjective experience in and of itself, but this a slightly worse subjective experience in and of itself, but this may be relinquished by the opportunities provided by the increased intelligence. Attractiveness, on the other hand, there seem to be very few downsides to attractiveness at all, especially if you're a man. I used a famous person so that people could relate to it, but the fame or wealth is not something that factors in a great deal. I guess someone like Kurt Cobain might be a semi-counter-example, but I think his problems were largely mental health issues. So maybe it really is a counter-example. I don't know. I don't give a shit. This is a nice little interaction I imagined. You weren't smiling. I don't smile. What? Why not? I'm not happy. Nice little uplifting little interaction there. When someone's, obviously the scenario is someone's taking a photo of someone and they say, you're smiling, and he says, or she says, I don't smile, and they say, why not? And then he or she says, I'm not happy. Okay. If our subjective experience is all that matters, and this ceases after our death, then what is the point of wanting to be remembered after our death? Well, there are a few reasons this might be the case, but I do happen to think that in reality it is best not to care about it. Not to care about what happens after your death, I mean. Although thinking that you want to be remembered positively may alter the way you behave in the present, and this may be better or worse for you. Secondly, it seems obvious to me that from the perspective of genes and the germline, there would be obvious selection advantages to the lineages of people who were remembered well and in good standing, and this may have resulted in the development over time of the necessary reward systems that would provide a rewarding subjective experience for one who receives every indication that their actions are conducive to them being remembered, to them being revered after their death. Bloody hell. Thirdly, we know, by dint of knowing other people who have been revered for long periods of time after their death, Marcus Aurelius, Caesar, Dickens, Einstein, that it is possible, and so operate under the illusion that it is what we desire. It likely satisfies some aspects of the hero archetype, and so behaving in that way would offer the rewards brought onto such a person that fills that role. Which the part we are interested in would be a satisfying subjective experience. What a positive subjective experience. Has anyone ever said the almost cinematic phrase, God didn't make man in his own image, man made God in theirs? I imagine they probably have. In the context of, you see, this is what happens when you deify people. I'm no God, Alice. I have godlike attributes. We all do. So once we realise people tend to deify other people, but then I can imagine someone saying, I'm not a god, but I do have godlike attributes. And the reason is because we've selected certain attributes that are present in some humans and picked the best ones and said that's godlike. And then we made gods in our own image. So they're not fucking real. They're not fucking real, alright? I'm coming to terms with my... Oh, no, never mind. And that's all of them. Thank God. Christ almighty. We've been saved. Yeah, so I better try and let's see. I wonder what the best aim is. Maybe that's one of the things that made religion survive. Maybe religion gives people a good aim that works. So I don't know what the aim would be if you distill religion into the most common aim that you derive from it. So I guess there'd be an argument about this. Maybe you can. Maybe one of the most prevalent interpretations is to be loving and kind and stuff like that. Obviously, it's hard to get that from the Old Testament. But yeah, maybe it causes you to reorient the world in a certain way. A good one would be, I don't know, really. Don't really know. But yeah, if you start looking for funny things and you find the world funny, and that it might, maybe I lost that somehow. I don't know. I don't know. So maybe if I decide, so what's the way to actually implement it? Well, it was pretty simple to implement the encyclopedia idea. I decided I just wanted to buy an encyclopedia. So if I just say I want to buy happiness, I think that'll fucking work. I don't think it works like that, because you're just going to end up seeing, well, maybe. I'll test it out. I'll try out a few different ones. I probably won't, but I'll say I will. Okay, let's say the first one will be happiness. Would look for happiness, but then maybe I'll just get jealous of other people's happiness. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, another thing you said in that same video was look for something that you want to improve in the world or something like that. Something like that, yeah. Which is basically what I was talking about. But anyway, I was thinking one of the things that annoys me at the moment is obviously discrepancies in IQ and attractiveness and just genetic and epigenetic problems, and how they play out in the role of finding happiness, because we seem to be social creatures and therefore needing social interaction and relationships, and some people are going to find those more easily than others, and they don't necessarily deserve them, and yeah, I wonder if I can find a way around that, but I don't know if I can. So think if you're stupid and ugly, you're kind of fucked. But yeah, we'll see. I'll try the same thing. I can see, the thing is, I can imagine a stupid and ugly but yet happy person. What about a smart and happy? A smart and ugly and happy person? Yeah, that too. An attractive and stupid, yeah, they all work. Yeah, I guess you can. So maybe it is the aim thing. Maybe I'll try something out. I don't fucking know. I don't give a shit. Bye. Just quickly forgot about some. Oh god, loud noises. Just wanted to add this on because it'll annoy me otherwise. Something I should have mentioned. Something I should have mentioned is that I don't see any reason you can't have multiple aims. If I'd made the conscious decision that I wanted to buy an encyclopedia and a skipping rope, I imagine the effect would have extended to include the rope. I also imagine there is some sort of limit to how many aims we can have. Maybe it's 7, or whatever that rule about how much our working memory can handle is. Also, I wonder whether as the number of aims increases, the weight assigned to each individual one decreases. Maybe we can customise our aim to determine who we are. Artists might look for beauty, unusual, quirky, colourful, or whatever. Comedians, funny, unique, unexpected, and inventors, inefficiency, malfunctions, and inconvenience. There we go, that'll do.